I never kissed a mouth that tastes like yours. Strawberries and something more. Ooh yeah, I want it all. Lipstick on my guitar. Fill up the engine, we can drive real far. Go dancing underneath the stars. Ooh yeah, I want it all. Got me feeling like I wanna be that guy. I wanna kiss your eyes. I wanna drink that smile. I wanna feel like my soul's on fire. I wanna stay up all day and all night. Yeah, you got me singing like, ooh, I love it when you do it like that. And when you're close up, give me the shivers. Oh baby, you wanna dance till the sunlight cracks. And when they say the party's over, then we'll bring it right back. And we'll say, ooh, I love it when you do it like that. And when you're close up, give me the shivers. Oh baby, you wanna dance till the sunlight cracks. And when they say the party's over, then we'll bring it right back into the car. On the backseat in the moonlit dark. Wrap me up between your legs and arms. Ooh, I can get enough. You know you could tear me apart. Put me back together and take my heart. I never thought that I could love this hard. Ooh, I can get enough. Ooh, you got me feeling like I wanna be that guy. I wanna kiss your eyes. I wanna drink that smile. I wanna feel like my soul's on fire. I wanna stay up all day and all night. Yeah, you got me singing like, ooh, I love it when you do it like that. And when you're close up, give me the shivers. Oh baby, you wanna dance till the sunlight cracks. And when they say the party's over, then we'll bring it right back. And we'll say, ooh, I love it when you do it like that. And when you're close up, give me the shivers. Oh baby, you wanna dance till the sunlight cracks. And when they say the party's over, then we'll bring it right back. Baby, you burn so hot, you make me shiver with the fire. You got this thing that started, I don't want it to stop. You know you make me shiver. Baby, you burn so hot, you make me shiver with the fire. You got this thing that started, I don't want it to stop. You know you make me shiver. Yeah, you got me singing like, ooh, I love it when you do it like that. And when you're close up, give me the shivers. Oh baby, you wanna dance till the sunlight cracks. And when they say the party's over, then we'll bring it right back. Gonna say, ooh, I love it when you do it like that. And when you're close up, give me the shivers. Oh baby, you wanna dance till the sunlight cracks. And when they say the party's over, then we'll bring it right back. Hey.
You love Michigan sports. Red Wings, Lions, Tigers, Pistons, Michigan State, and the list goes on. And you love beer. Who doesn't? What if we mixed the two together? This is State of My Sports. We'll talk everything Michigan sports, like only we do, and then we'll down our fair share of beer from a local brewery, grading the beer throughout the episode. So pop a cold one on your end, and we'll get busy on ours. This is the State of My Sports.
That's right, this is State of My Sports, and this is episode 127. We have a lot to talk about. We're going to get into it as quick as we can. Probably a couple of the most entertaining Red Wing games to start a season in a long time. I'm going to talk about that, the drama that happened with Larkin. It feels like so long ago. That's one thing that sucks about only doing this once a week. It's like, it feels like old news, but we still got to talk about it. I have some opinions about Larkin and all that stuff. The Lions looked awful for the first time. I think they actually looked flat out awful, and unfortunately we got to talk about that a little bit. Michigan State did their job. They're going to make that 7-0 matchup happen on their end. It wasn't as pretty as we thought it could be, but we'll dissect that a bit and kind of talk about some stuff heading into the bye week. And we're going to have our Pistons preview. season preview, man. Does it start tomorrow? It's tomorrow, right? Because today's Tuesday.
Starts
The game's
tomorrow.
on
Yeah,
Wednesday.
all the games are starting today, right?
And then
Or
Pistons
the other
is
two?
tomorrow?
Yeah, Pistons
Okay.
tomorrow.
Nice. We will, for our Betting Hero segment, we'll make our picks against the spread. And, of course, we're going to grade some Michigan beer from Siciliano's Market. I'm Sam Waltart. And today we got Ryan Waltart and
Hello.
Micah Smith
What's up?
rocking the Big Lake Brewing hat. That looks really nice.
It's a good hat.
I'm this close to pulling the trigger. I actually ordered 3 hats
Oh.
today for State of My Sports, but they're 3 different colors. I went with that style.
No way.
One of them was that color scheme. I want to see how the logo looks on it. But 3 different colors. So we got the royal blue and gray coming, and a black and gray, and then a navy and gray.
That black and gray sounds
I
nice.
thought those would be the best colors to try, so we're going to try all 3 of them.
Probably just do all of them. Let's get all
Just
of them.
all colors. Just make
all
it
of
so
us.
The
anybody
whole
can.
slew of them.
I don't know if we're gonna sell these or how it's all gonna happen, but I wanted to get that going. So that's
Where do I go
that's
to buy
in the
that?
Works. Just show up every Tuesday for the next year, and you'll get a hat.
Got it. Perfect. Done that before. I'll do it again.
If you're watching live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or Twitch, please let us know. Throw some comments out there. Be part of the conversation. We're just sports fans, and we want to know your guys' opinions as well. So please be part of the conversation. Let us know what you're drinking as well, which is always fun to get people involved and hear what everybody's drinking on a nice Tuesday night. Before we get into the episode, I did want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors that help keep this thing rolling and keeping it free for our listeners. The Hops Brewing Company and Cafe. We were there last week. Great time. Is the official brewery of State of My Sports. Siciliano's Market helps us pick out our Michigan beers for each and every episode. Mac Web Design helped us get our website up and running. And bettinghero.com helps us and you get the best promos available in the sports betting world. Micah, you actually signed up. Did you? Are you officially in, or do you still haven't deposited any money?
No, still haven't gotten that far yet. I got signed up, got really pumped, and I think there was some intoxication happening. So
was this Saturday when you guys were at the wedding?
Was that Saturday?
I don't know if it was. Did I text you Saturday?
I don't remember.
I don't know, but I was so pumped. I'm like, I'm signing up. No. This was Friday.
Was it?
Yeah,
it was Friday.
it was
you're
definitely
right. 'Cause
Friday.
You really
did.
wanted it. You wanted to get money on the
2
Michigan
days in a
State
row.
game. You wanted to get money on the Michigan State game. That was your goal.
I wanted to so bad, and I'm kind of glad I didn't because I would have been sweating it out.
Oh man, I was
that 2 hours. I would have really been pulling my hair out. But
Yeah.
I mean, they pulled it out.
They did. They did. Yeah, I mean they got the win. But you guys were at a wedding together, right? This weekend. How'd that go?
We were. It was fun.
Yeah, it was awesome.
How was Nate? Was Nate feeling pretty good? Listener Nate?
Oh yeah, listener Nate did his job about as well as you could ask any best man to do his
Who
job.
was the best man? He was the best man?
He was the best man. Yeah.
He's a good guy.
Oh man, he's a great guy. Yeah.
I should
I
bring him
got
a
to
beer
see
tomorrow.
where his where he lives now. Gave him a ride home. So that was,
did he?
it was
really?
good. He got home
Yeah.
safely.
He
yeah.
actually lives pretty close to where Fuzzy lived.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I forget what street that is. Right over.
Well, it's not like it reveal where he lives.
That's
you
true,
know.
but I'm just saying
For a
where Fuzzy,
listener.
nobody knows where Fuzzy lives, though. if you
Right,
think about it
exactly.
that
So
way.
we'll
or used
leave
to
it
live.
like that.
Yeah, we'll just leave. Like really, like I
Wow,
think the address is like 3844.
In Catamount and Ada? Man.
Exactly.
Way out there.
Whoa.
He's doing pretty
Way
well. Let's just say that.
Out
Oh,
there.
way.
No,
Put it in the net.
Man, we got the Red Wings going on here in the background. Now, I picked the wrong side when I decided to set things
Well, you
up.
picked the right
I
side.
should be able to see the.
No,
I
you'd
would
be so
distracted.
distracted.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
I got enough going on over here to.
We are
to
true
keep me
professionals
busy.
over here. We can keep it together.
Yeah, but all right. So Michigan, they did their job. They got to 7-0. Michigan was on their bye week, but I did want to talk a little bit about Michigan, and I don't think we should be concerned. They're 21.5 point favorites, big favorites. Northwestern, you should be able to handle them.
Yep.
I'm a little nervous because, I'm not nervous we're going to lose this game. I don't think.
Nervous
I mean,
that
I'm
it's
going to
gonna
be
be too
nervous.
close?
I'm going to be nervous that we're going to lose this game until the game's over, pretty much. Because, I mean, didn't they?
Really,
they
with
made
Northwestern.
They made a change at quarterback, and they just beat Nebraska. What was the score? 21-7? Something like that? And
Yeah.
I mean,
you're right.
they're playing better, and they're that type of team that they're going to punch you back. You know what I mean? They're the Detroit Lions of the Big Ten right now because they're biting kneecaps on the way back up. They're not going to stop.
I'm thinking they're more like a Sparty, you know, like they've got that kind of an attitude that can show up at any week, any given Saturday.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a little nervous about it. I'm really curious if we're going to notice anything different about this offense. You know, like after the bye week, but you also have that big game coming. You don't want to like show too much. Like, what do you guys think heading into this game?
I don't think you're going to see a whole lot of difference. I mean, maybe improvement on the passing game.
Yeah.
You're still going to see a lot of run game against Northwestern. They've got one of the worst run defenses.
Yeah, Northwestern does?
Yeah.
That should be a major advantage for Michigan.
Right, and I think they're going to play to that advantage and not really let Cade pass a whole lot, simply because they want to just dominate this win. They want to put their foot on the gas and get through this win. They don't want to have anything cut too close.
Yeah. And I hate saying it because if it doesn't happen, it sounds bad, but they want their starters out at halftime,
probably
ready to just kind of like start focusing on without overlooking, but start taking it easy and focusing on the game at 7-0, hopefully.
If Cade is not going absolutely nuts on this team, then I think you have to find time to get JJ in there too.
Yeah.
Give him real playing time, real command of the offense for a few drives in a row, not just like this one bomb pass that's just perfect and then put your third string in. Like I want more. If Cade is McNamara is not like taking over the game and really coming into his own through the air, then I want to see who can do that.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm looking for in this game.
No, I completely agree. I feel like I don't remember exactly the scenario last time I felt this way, but it was like I think it was against like Navy. Was it Navy or Army or something that we played a couple years ago?
We had Air Force.
Was it Air Force?
A couple of years,
and it was like a really close game, right? We were at the garage, or not the garage. We were at Tin Can.
I want to say it was
a
Air
Beers
Force.
and Bikes Day, right? Yeah, okay. But like I remember like going into that thinking, all right, let's get a big lead and see what I think it was Dylan McCaffrey then. What can Dylan McCaffrey come in and do? See our second string and like kind of thinking that far ahead. I want that to happen. I don't want to start thinking that and overlook this game and all of a sudden you're sitting here heading into the fourth quarter like, all right, let's take this game over. Yeah. Let's put this away. You know what I mean?
Like they had that funky offense that Don Brown, of all people, couldn't figure out.
Yeah.
But let's see here. So we got a listener, Charles.
Charles, hey, thanks for watching.
Yeah. Charles says Michigan and Harbaugh have gotten back to Michigan football, and best hire this year was McDonald as DC.
I agree. I actually listened
100%.
to an interview with him on 97 on the Ticket today, and he sounded exactly like a Harbaugh. And I know it's like not necessarily a good thing, but like he had that little bit of a quirky, like long answers, very slow, like talk, and it reminded me so much of Harbaugh. And obviously McDonald coming over from John Harbaugh's staff in the Ravens over to Jim. It's just like it sounds like he has that same voice that I think this team needed.
Yeah.
I like what he's doing. Like again, dumb at the football here. I don't see schematically the goods and the bad that he's done that Don Brown couldn't do. That's all over my head.
Yep.
The numbers speak for themselves. This defense has been awesome. The defensive line is putting on great pressure, and I feel like they're just working their way back. Everybody's kind of working in unison, and it is a complete unit.
I think what you're seeing is he's giving his best defensive players space to work and do what they do well. So when they have these big-time recruits, they're not just being shoved as like a safety,
Yeah.
Like Dax Hill is being used in a way that best utilizes his ability.
Yeah.
And he's not just being thrown in as safety and be like, intercept the ball every once in a while. When he's at his most effective is when you don't know what's coming next. If he's going to blitz or if he's going to play the corner, slot cornerback. Like that's where shows his athleticism more than anything, and he's a smaller type of explosive athlete, and he's being used perfectly. So to me, with that kind of with his ability to identify the skill guys on defense and utilize them to the best of their ability, that is like the perfect mark of a coach.
Man, I don't know what to think heading in this game. I'm just really excited, and it's not necessarily I'm excited to watch this game from start to finish. I'm excited for what just winning can do. And we'll get into like what Michigan State did, and just winning was enough. I didn't care. It didn't matter. And I want that same thing for Michigan.
Yeah.
I'm going to say those words, and I'm going to be sitting there. If it's a close game like Michigan State just went through, I'll be terrified, and I'll be angry because you should take care of business. You should go out there and dominate this game. But I guess we'll see. What do you guys think? Like, Micah, real quick, wrap up the Michigan talk here.
Yeah, I mean, don't think that Pat Fitzgerald is not going to come in with his boys not ready to play.
That's a great
That
point.
is not his MO. He's always had his team ready to go. I think there's a huge talent gap, and I think there's kind of this lack of talent on his end. I mean, he coaches for Northwestern. I get it. But in the end, he does get his guys ready to play. And I don't think it's a trap game. It could be closer than what it should be, but there's a good chance that Michigan comes out of the gate ready to go 7-0.
Yeah, I don't think they're talented enough for this to be an official trap game. That's the way I'm looking at it. It is time to grade our Michigan beers for this episode. Did it again. That's 2 weeks
It is
now.
time to introduce our Michigan beers for this episode, but before we do, I want to remind everyone of our partner, Siciliano's Market. They are simply the best beer store in West Michigan, located on Lake Michigan Drive, right between Grand Valley State University's main campus and downtown Grand Rapids. Wherever you live in West Michigan, it is worth the short drive for what they have to offer. Whether you know what you want or need some help from their expert staff, Siciliano's Market is the best place for that. They not only have a massive and up-to-date inventory of the best craft beers from across our great nation, they are individually priced so you can mix and match to build your own six-pack. They obviously have a great selection of craft beer. They also have specialty wines, spirits, ciders, coffee, tea, tobacco, and cigars. Siciliano's Market also has the largest selection of homebrew and winemaking supplies in West Michigan. We love that Siciliano's Market is part of the State of My Sports family, and it is who we visit to help us choose our Michigan beers for each and every episode. So please check them out and let them know that we sent you.
All right, I am drinking today, courtesy of listener Kyle, I shouldn't say former.
Whoa.
He's not
Slow
former.
the roll.
The guy that we don't know where he is. The Kyle that everybody knows and loves and misses so
He'll be
much.
back. He'll be back.
Hopefully, if he's listening or watching, text me your picks so I can get those in.
Yeah,
Me
there's
too,
no
John.
chance. No
You
chance
guys
he
can
is.
get that in there. I'm drinking from Dock. Bums Beach. It's their American Wheat Ale. 12 ounce, obviously. 5.8% alcohol by volume. Dock is in Marquette, Michigan. So my coworker Kyle was in Marquette just a couple weeks ago. So his father-in-law, I think, played for. Is it Eastern Michigan that's out there? No, not Eastern.
What are you talking about?
Michigan Tech?
No, the one that plays in the Dome. Which one plays in the Dome?
In the Dome?
Yeah, the North, man.
Northern Michigan.
Northern Michigan.
Obviously, Northern. That was dumb. Why did I say
Come on
Eastern?
now.
That was really dumb. Northern Michigan, he played for them, and they were like celebrating him, or not him, but the team that he played on. So he was up there. He picked out a couple beers from Dock. He actually was the one that picked up the Blackrocks as well. So he had a couple breweries, which is cool. So thank you, Kyle, for that. I'm gonna give this one a grade at the end of the episode, and we'll see how it goes. 25 IBUs as well. Pretty solid. Pretty solid.
He miss?
Mike, what are you drinking?
It's Larkin.
From Blackrocks, Oktoberfest Marzen style lager. It's a traditional Marzen style malt forward with a balanced bouquet of select noble hops. I'm not going to try and read the next part. We'll try that later. Let's see here. Enjoy within 6 months. They've got it on the can. You got to enjoy.
I feel like
within 6 months.
Blackrocks does that.
It's smart because
It's good, yeah.
people may forget, might just be in their fridge too long, and I don't see a percent on here.
I don't know. I guess we'll see if
I'll
it
have to
comes
figure
out,
that out
at
later.
the end of the episode here. Ryan, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking Double Voyager, Double New England IPA from Arvon Brewing Company. This is a 9.0%er Double New England style IPA with Galaxy, Citra, and Mosaic hops. So, we love the Arvon IPAs, and this one's not disappointing.
Definitely. They came out with the Voyager, Double Voyager, and Triple Voyager this last week. So check that. Check out all these breweries. They all make some great beer, so please check them out. Any comments coming in on what people are drinking today? I don't know if we had any.
I haven't seen any yet.
All right, they'll probably come flying in here very soon. But
Did you want to say something?
I wanted to say, let's talk some Red Wings.
There you go.
Say. That's what I wanted to say. They are 1-0-1 right now. They're in a nail biter with a 0-0. Is it still 0-0 over there?
Yeah.
3 points out of a possible 4. First game against Tampa. Second game was against who? Who was it? No.
Vancouver.
I knew it was Canadian team. Not a whole lot to unpack here, and I don't. This isn't going to be a thing that we talk Red Wings every single week. Same thing with the Pistons. But when something big happens, we gotta get into it, and we'll kind of touch base with some of the stuff that we've talked about in the preview. throughout the season and stuff. But the first thing that stood out to me was Sider. The 3 assists already in the first 2 games. That's great to see. More importantly, 20 minutes and 21 seconds against Tampa, and then 22 minutes and 55 seconds in Game 2 against Vancouver. They're trusting this guy, and I love seeing it. He looked very, very nervous that halfway through the first period, I thought. And then he really you got to take that or no?
I'm not buzzing.
Somebody's phone's ringing. Is that you, Micah?
Sorry, guys.
Whose phone is that?
I don't know. I think it's just a little feedback.
That is really?
Yeah, we should just keep going. See what happens.
That's interesting. My bad. I thought it was somebody's phone vibrating. That's crazy.
Ryan, you want to take that?
Anyways.
Be right back. That's so distracting.
It is. Sorry about that. I just gotta move on here. But yeah, it's nice to see. He looked very nervous at first, then he kind of got his feet under him and played well through the rest of the game. The number plus minus isn't anything too exciting about, but we'll see how that goes. Raymond got 1 assist. I think it was that first game. He played 16 minutes, 27 seconds, and then 13 minutes, 54 seconds in Game 2. Both these guys look like they belong, and that's I think the most comforting thing to see, because our prospects have come up time and time again and struggled and haven't looked ready to play in the NHL. These guys, as young, I think 20 and 21-year-old kids, maybe even younger, they're ready to play, and it's awesome. And they're not going to lose these jobs no matter what happens here. And
love seeing that.
So who are the young guys that have struggled? Who are some of those guys that you're thinking of?
I don't know if anybody's like in the past.
Yeah, just in recent memory.
Zadina struggled to come up. Like he didn't produce. I mean, not that Raymond's produced yet, but
Rasmussen.
Rasmussen. Mantha was one of those guys that took a while to get up and play. Chalowski was supposed to be a really good defenseman. He came up and couldn't keep his job. The list kind of goes on.
Yeah.
It's a lot of players.
I guess what I was getting at is like a lot of those guys are on this team ready to produce.
They are now,
and they're here.
Yeah.
So if you get some of these rookies that are ready to produce as well at a younger age, a pretty good mix that you might be able to get there with
and
talent-wise.
The key is, Sider did play that full year in Grand Rapids 2 years ago, so that was a good taste for him. But like a guy like Raymond just coming over and making the team right away is important, you know. That's the kind of stuff that we haven't seen. I mean, I forget if Larkin made the team right away. But Bertuzzi had a year or two in GR when Tatar and Nyquist were coming up. They had a couple years in GR. I
think they all played together.
All of these guys,
Calder.
Yeah, all of these guys kind of had their time in GR to develop, and I like that we're at a point that we're not keeping them down just for the sake of keeping them down and develop. You know what I mean? Let them develop on the job.
It almost felt like that was like Ken Holland's MO. Like from the top, hey, got to keep the guys down.
Yeah,
got to keep the guys down. Got to keep the veterans happy.
Yep. So game one was crazy. That's the one that I want to dig into just a little bit more or less because of the Larkin stuff. For the people that missed it, he kind of got bumped from behind. It was an awkward hit. I personally didn't think it was dirty. I was very surprised by what escalated after that. So I don't need to get into all the boring details of what happened before and all that stuff. But basically,
go see it on Twitter.
It was the refs did not let these guys settle it early on, and it got chippy, it got ugly, and Larkin kind of got put in an awkward position. It was dangerous, but it wasn't like, what's the word I'm looking for? It wasn't malicious at all. I didn't think. And then Larkin got up and sucker punched the guy with his glove on. Just got up and decked him right in the face. I'm listening to Bally Sports guys. Like I think Ken Daniels does a great job. Mickey Redmond is what he is. But like they're all like Larkin deserved they were defending the Red Wings like they do. Like it is, but like I sit here and I'm listening to all these other fans like call into these radio shows the next day, and everybody's like, I'm so glad Larkin did that. It's about time. He was cheap shotted and yeah, he stood up for himself. I'm like, dude, do you guys realize what you just watched happen is stuff that we have hated about so many other players in this league for a very long time? Like Crosby, like I don't want to compare Larkin to Crosby, but everything that people hated about Crosby as he was coming into the league with his, I can't think of a word that's not swearing. It's actually two swear words that come to mind. I shouldn't say it. I'm not going to
Nope,
say it.
don't say it.
Weak?
But female dog
Oh, okay.
buttness, basically, is where I'm going at. He's
heard that.
a whiny little baby, and he's exactly what people hated about Crosby without the upside of what Crosby was, if that makes sense. And it's blowing my mind that people are just letting this guy get away with it because they're Red Wing fans. And look, I get it. You're a Red Wing fan. I'm a really big Red Wing fan, but I also am a hockey fan. I like the game of hockey. And the way Larkin handled that was the exact opposite of what old school people want and new school people want. It makes no sense what he did. There's no reason why people should defend it. There is no reason, he should have been suspended. And luckily he came out and said all the right things. But it's just another thing with Larkin is I feel like he says the right things, but he doesn't even believe the words that are coming out of his mouth. I'm just kind of going off right now, just so many different things. I mean, what did you guys think of the situation?
In the moment, I had no problem with what he did. I feel like, okay, it wasn't like the malicious level wasn't at a 10. I thought it was like a 6 or a 7 maybe. The hit he took. But I think what compounded his emotions was from last year when he took that cross check from what was it, Jamie Benn?
That's another thing that I hated. Sorry, keep going, but I'm going to disagree. But yeah, go ahead.
Okay, well, he ended up with a neck injury, and so basically what it is he got really pissed off. He's already known to have this neck issue. He doesn't want to have it again, and everyone around the league knows that. So he got pretty defensive, sucker punched the guy, and after watching it, you almost see no one come to his defense
and
anywhere close.
And that's the key, I think. And that is the whole my whole thing with Larkin is I don't think he is leadership quality because of that. That right there tells me, people didn't really care.
You don't think he's won the locker room over?
No, I don't.
You don't think he's got the respect of his teammates?
I think they respect him, but I don't think they respect him the way that a captain is supposed to be respected. I think they respect.
But you felt the same way about Crosby.
When he was first getting the C on his jersey, it was way too early. But I mean, he was the best in the world right away. So it's a different thing. People respected Crosby because of
his
talent, and how great he was coming into a man's league, being mugged, and I mean, he had a reason to whine and complain and all that stuff, and I guess Larkin does too. But Larkin does not have the
skill to back it up. He
does not have the skill to back it up. He does not have the respect of being like, yeah, I just show up and I'm really great. And I'm not saying that Crosby didn't put in the hard work, but there's a difference between being the best player because you just are and being the real true leader of that team.
So I don't have a whole lot to say about this because I don't know the unwritten rules of hockey, I guess. But I have a hard time with unwritten rules of baseball too, kind of. And so if I'm going to look at it from a logical point of view, I would think that you would want your player, your guy in your team to, especially your captain, to bring some emotion and to want them to change the franchise a little bit. So if he was getting chippy because he's ready to compete and he's like, no, screw you guys, I'm going to come back and do this. And if he felt like they were being, unnecessarily rough, or I don't know what I watched it. I didn't really see that big of a deal actually.
Yep.
But I don't know. I think if it was his emotion coming out and his competitiveness coming out, I think that might translate through the rest of the team in the locker room.
But that's where I'm just you can this is, and I've always thought this way, and there's other hockey players that think different, but you can do whatever the heck you want to me. Do whatever it is. You can tell me the meanest thing about my mom in my ear, and if I turn around and react, then I'm putting myself above the team. But if somebody's doing it to my teammate and I'm going to step up for him, that's when I can get away with punching a guy and fighting a guy because I'm defending a teammate. Larkin was defending himself. Larkin wasn't, playing the game with an edge. He lost his temper and looked like a little baby, put himself above the team when the team was up. And that's exactly what Tampa was trying to do. That's exactly what teams do when things aren't going well, is they try to agitate, they try to get somebody to flip out, get a 5-minute penalty, score 2 goals on it. That's exactly what happened. They did exactly what they wanted to do. And it wasn't like a dirty play, really. It was an awkward play, but it wasn't anything out of the ordinary that doesn't happen in this league each and every game. That's the way I look at it. There was a much worse hit on Rasmussen later on in that game, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was same dude who scored both, right?
I don't remember if it was...
I think
was
it was.
Joseph that got him too? It might have been. I guess I don't know that. But, I mean, I was angry. And I was angry at Larkin, and you guys know I don't like Larkin. I'm not a big Larkin fan, so
I think some of this is.
If I see something like that, I'm gonna. But I pointed this stuff out heading into the season, and that's exactly what we saw heading in here. He's not leadership quality, and that right there tells me he's not a true leader of men. He is saying the right things. He's the one that gets on the ice first and gets off the ice last.
Got it. Well,
he's also the one that's going to say all the right things, but he's not saying, he doesn't even believe what's coming out of his mouth. And people can find that, and people can, like Matt Patricia, very fake, right? We knew that pretty quick. Larkin is fake, in my opinion.
Question.
Yeah.
Is there anyone on this team that would defend anyone else on the team?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's plenty of guys that would. I mean, Bertuzzi's always ready to defend. But if you watch the second game, he did it a lot more in that second game, because I think that was the message in the locker room was Larkin did this. Somebody else should have been in there way before he even had a chance to throw a punch. And that is, I think, the message that was said in the locker room behind closed doors is, look, defend each other. Fight for each other. Because don't fight for yourself, fight for one another.
Man, so what he did actually created a really good message.
No, I still disagree.
Oh, okay.
With that. No.
So I thought this is kind of a downer. I thought you were going to talk about how they were 1-0-1, and they're actually looking really good tonight, and like they look a little bit different with all this young talent that's blossoming right in front of our eyes.
I think they had a winning record through 5 games last year.
Yeah, they did. So. I think, what's his name that we traded away?
Mantha.
Mantha had like 6 goals in 5 games.
I think he scored 4 in the opener against Dallas.
Just like Bertuzzi.
Might have been 2 years ago now. I don't know.
Was it Bertuzzi?
Bertuzzi had 4.
Yeah, he had 4.
Game 1. Yeah, I mean, I should have brought that up.
So listener Charles said, Larkin is young, though he will grow into wearing the C.
I sure hope so, man. Either that or trade him. I'm ready to move on. I would love to see him get traded for, even though I don't like Jack Eichel, be part of that. But, I mean, hey, people grow up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he
might just grow up.
We'll see. I don't know. We'll see how the rest of it goes.
Especially if he keeps playing on the 4th line. We don't need to get into that. He was
the fourth center on the ice,
Fourth center on the ice, yeah.
Drinking craft beer, having fun, and talking sports in the state of Michigan. You're listening to State of My Sports.
What's going on in the comments right now?
What?
Something's going on in the comments.
What?
I don't know, but
Harry asked, "How do you know Sam?" And I'm very confused. What's going on? You see that on there?
Something's going on. Yeah.
Let's clear this up. Let's clear it up. Let's just
later
skip the Lions.
Oh, okay. No, I'm game for that.
Well, Sam's family.
Lions played by far the worst game. It had no answer or fight back for the first time this season. They were down 10-0 at half. They were outscored 10-0 in the third quarter, and then 14-11 in the fourth for a 34-11 loss. Goff 28-42, 202 yards, 1 interception. Swift and Williams combined for 35 yards and 17 carries. Derek Barnes had a nice game with 6 tackles. Julian Okwara 3 tackles and a sack. Austin Bryant also had a sack.
There you go.
Moving on.
Yep.
Look, I mean, as much as it would be fun to just move on and pretend it didn't happen, I don't think we need to get into the game necessarily. If there's some stuff that stands out that you guys want to bring up, I mean, obviously go for it. I think what Lions fans I think were hoping for was the emotional Dan Campbell. What we saw after the Vikings loss would translate into an absolute battle for these guys. And that these guys would come out and play for them and come out and not, and just battle. And I hate saying that they didn't, because I honestly think they did in the first half. I thought they battled very well.
Yep.
And the offense really, again, let this team down
Yeah.
in crucial situations. And it wasn't turnovers. It wasn't, well, I guess there was, a turnover. But
There's some sacks.
it wasn't like anything crazy. It was just no rhythm. And that offense absolutely sputtered. And they were lucky. It could have been 7-0 actually heading into that halftime.
Look,
It
last
could have
year,
been a game.
I think the story of this team so far is last year had an historic bad defense,
Mhm.
and that was their worst defense in their franchise history. And this year we were not expecting a lot different, even though we did address a few of the positions. There's a lot of negativity going into the year, and I think the defense has actually stepped up. They've been ready to play, and in this game, it should have been a competitive game with the way this defense played through three quarters, and especially through the half. They kept them in it, and there was no business for them to have that many opportunities against them and only be 10-0 at half. And then they scored in the third, whatever, but they were still competitive all the way through that third quarter. And I think the consensus was, they ran out of gas. That many opportunities, you get figured out, you get worn down, and you start losing. Dan Campbell didn't like that response. He said that was not a good excuse. They need to keep him in it. But you're right. The real issue here is their offense had zero rhythm, had no continuity at all with like play calling, execution, an ability from Jared Goff to make something happen when nothing is there. Like there's no creative ability on this offense, and we've seen that all year. Like name a game besides the 49ers in the second half where we came to play on offense. Like the Bears, yeah, they actually did, but they fumbled it away, and the execution got them in the end.
Mm-hmm.
And you cannot give up the first 4 drives like they did, and we saw the complete opposite this time. There was no execution, but there was also no like movement of the ball ever.
Mm-hmm.
They just like where are the playmakers? Where's the ability to get the ball in space and then just make a guy miss
So
for 8 yards? Like that should not be hard in this league.
yeah.
And it looks really hard right now.
It looks really hard. Do you think that's just Goff, or do you think so? Charles actually commented again. He said he wants to see Lynn go. It's not all on Goff. I don't think it's all on Goff.
I completely disagree. You
I don't
saw
think
this
you
Rams.
get little Lynn because of. What
I
we're
think you
seeing.
look at the Rams last year to this year. Their offense didn't change at all except for Stafford
quarterback.
swapping with Goff.
And they got a worse running game.
And they have a worse running game in there, and they are like, they're not even close to the same team offensively. They are a dominant offensive team right now, and with Goff, they couldn't do exactly what we. They were a teens scoring team. Like they would not score into the 20s very often, and they were winning close games in the teens.
Mm.
And they wanted to change because there's no creative ability with this guy. And I don't agree. I think as an offensive play caller, how are you supposed to call plays where one missed assignment equals bad play? You look at Mahomes and what he does. If there's one missed assignment, he makes a guy miss and throws the ball downfield 35 yards.
Yeah.
Because he's looking downfield. And I'm not saying we need Mahomes. I'm saying he's not an NFL caliber starting quarterback if you're looking to have him help your teammates. He doesn't make his teammates better. He completely relies on the execution of his teammates. Sorry, I'm just taking up space.
I don't even think he's lazy. He's lazy with everything that's happening in front of him. He doesn't care to look for the next guy. There are so many times, and I know we say it all the time, there was a wide open guy here, a wide open guy here. He missed Hawkinson, which I know was a miscommunication allegedly, but he missed him wide open on a fourth down play again. Well, first of all, he threw the ball away, which what in the world?
I don't know.
And he left a guy wide open on the right side of the field. Again, I don't want to hate on Goff because he's a nice guy and he's saying all the right things, but he does not give an F right now.
Well, and I think when I'm saying creative ability, I'm thinking when there's a broken play, when things are not going exactly to script. So he might know the defense that he's looking at when he gets to the line of scrimmage. He might be able to diagnose what defense they're playing and what strengths now his offense has and be able to check out of things. He might have that ability, but what I'm saying, when he loses his creative ability, it's when he gets the ball in his hands, and now everything's on him to make this right decision. and he has the ability to look at his first option here. There's a second option coming, the third option over there, and a dump down over here. He doesn't have the ability to see the field as it's developing. I think he literally goes from 1 to 2 to 3, and he doesn't have that like quick ability to know when to jump from 1 to 3 and when to just like force it in there quickly, because you don't ever see that. You don't see the ability downfield ever, which is always your second option most times down the field. I think he goes from 1 to 4, which is the check down, because he doesn't have that confidence ability in his arm anymore. Like something between his head in his helmet is like messed up.
And for Charles' sake, look, I think there is some bad play calling in there. I don't want to throw it all on Lynn, and I think he's proven enough. Like, to say get rid of him, I think is a little bit of an overstatement. But I understand the frustration with Lynn too, because there hasn't been a whole lot of creativity. More or less like seeing, Swift and Williams on the field at the same time. You're weak in the wide receiver room, so then take advantage of it with your, if you want to call it depth, at a running back room.
Yeah, I agree.
That would be great to see. But the running back or wide receivers are bad. We know that. But they're not this bad. Nobody in the NFL, nobody's wide receiving core is this bad the way that Goff is making them look. He's not making them look any better, if that makes sense. And that's another frustrating thing. And Dan Campbell, he kind of came out with some statements, and it gets a little messy here. But about Goff, he said, I feel he needs to step up more than he has, and I think he needs to help us just like everybody else. I think he's going to need to put a little bit of weight on his shoulders here, and it's time to step up, make some throws, and do some things. When I first heard these comments, I didn't even realize it was like, I just agreed completely. It's like, well, yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
This is, and you should be able to say this about your quarterback. Then Chris Carter got on there. I don't know if you guys heard this or not, but he basically, I think he's on like Good Morning Football or something. I don't know what
that's
show it was in.
That's a thing.
Sounds cute.
Anyways, it's Hot Take Central, and people probably didn't watch the Lions game or watch the whole press conference and stuff like that. But I guess Chris Carter's like, this is not the right coach. It's an amateur coach. This is terrible. I have the whole quote here, but you guys know how I read and how long it could get. It's not worth getting into. If you guys find it,
you just can't go to a press conference and just speak off the cuff. No, that's not a professional head coach. Now, you've got me confused as a player. Make up your mind. Last week you're crying, and this week you're criticizing the most valuable player in the franchise. Is that it? Or
yeah, that's what he's saying about Goff, and he kind of. I mean, I think it's worth reading more if you want to.
Yeah, let me tell you what Jared Goff needs right now. And a lot of people around the NFL, they might not admit this, but he needs a hug. He needs someone he can trust, because if I go out to the LA Rams to Detroit, from the LA Rams to Detroit, I do the reverse Eddie Murphy thing.
Yeah, this part you don't need.
Beverly Hills Cop. He goes from Detroit to Hollywood. That's cool. Now he goes from LA to Detroit without the jacket. And now I don't know if he has the support of the organization, because the head coach is inexperienced and he gets off script. When was the last coach we've seen sit at the podium and criticize a player? It's been a long time, because the coach of all 32 teams is telling them, hey, Kay, I'll never talk about you to the media. I'll never say anything that I didn't go over with you. And then now I'm driving home and my wife or something, Twitter and everyone on my phone is saying, did you hear what the coach said? So that right there, that's an amateur coach, not supporting his quarterback and not supporting his team because he did something that you're never supposed to do.
If that was off the cuff for him, that is beyond imaginary. That is bizarre.
It's a weird statement, but like
I can't even like wrap my mind around all of that. But why is it so bad to criticize your quarterback when he's not playing well?
Exactly.
Why is that frowned upon?
Bruce Arians did it to Tom Brady last year.
Yeah.
He called him out in a press conference. It's like, and people get called out all the time. Coaches call out players constantly. And the fact that he's saying, I shouldn't say this because we didn't go over it in the locker room. Does Chris Carter know what they went over in the locker room?
Well,
does Chris Carter know what he said to him behind closed doors? I'm sure it was a lot more vulgar and angry than that. Like,
well, it's a good thing Chris Carter wasn't a quarterback.
Get your head out of your... Well, Chris Carter got called out by his coach several times.
Well, and he was a wide receiver, and he probably cried about it.
Yeah.
So, as a quarterback and as a leader of this team, and I'm telling you, I'm not I'm not living in like fantasy land. I don't think the Lions are good. We
No.
were not expecting anything out of the Lions this year.
Yeah.
They're not going to go winless. Okay, they're not. I really don't think they will.
I hope not.
But this is not a good team. This is a team that deserves to be high up in the lottery for draft picks next season. And that was the plan all along. It's not like we're trying to be competitive this year. So when the ship starts sinking, when we don't have enough, and we have so many critical injuries right now at this point. When the ship starts going down and we're starting to say like this coach isn't it for us. Why? Because we have a terrible, terrible team on the field without a lot of talent, and this is exactly going to script. Like going into the year, we thought maybe we'll get the first overall pick next year, but now that it's actually happening, now we have these people on national TV that are just trying to start something, like you said, Hot Take Central.
Yeah.
That's what this screams to me is they don't care about Detroit sports, they don't care about the Lions, they're not following any of this. All he knows is Dan Campbell, helmet on, kneecaps first, helmet on second, crying third, and now he's calling out his quarterback. So he's saying this is in disarray when he's trying to motivate the most important player on his team. And this is the best way that Dan Campbell thinks he can do it.
I think you nailed it right on the head. I don't know if we have any comments coming in about this topic and stuff, but
also keep losing.
Yeah,
honestly.
I'm okay with keep losing. I feel like 0-17 is more on the table than I ever thought it would. And I know like it's a long season. There's injuries and stuff can happen, and the Bears could fall off a table here any minute, and we do great on Thanksgiving. But like most of teams that get 1 or 2 wins win those type of games that we already found a way to lose. You know what I mean? Like those are the games that keep people from going 0-16, 0-17. And
yeah, but they were doing that against
those 2 games already.
Yeah,
that scares the crap out of me.
They're not going to go 0-17. I promise. They're just not.
Shoot the boot. Shoot the boot. Promise.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Let's do it. What do I get in return?
Nothing.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not sure then. Yeah, I don't know.
If you guarantee something, that means it's not happening.
I want some free beer.
All right, perfect.
All right, cool.
You can drink a free beer out of the boot.
Perfect.
If you lose.
I don't know where this is going anymore.
Anyways.
But yeah. I'm not that worried about this, but I'm not the one that's worried about their wins and losses. I'm looking at Levi Onwuzurike. I'm looking at like Lee McNeil. I'm looking at trying to see if we have a legitimate middle linebacker who has really started performing.
Yeah.
And this defense, again, has stepped up. Our weakest point of the team last year was this defense. You couldn't find a strength across the board. And now we're looking at our linebackers saying, hey, they're actually performing pretty well. Hey, look, our defensive line, even with all these injuries, they're actually pretty deep. We've got some sacks still with Julian Aquara stepping up and all this other stuff. And we have some cornerbacks that are coming out of nowhere, even though 2 of our top 3 guys are out and we don't have the depth that we thought we did. Like, with all that said, they're stepping up and they're keeping this team competitive early on and midway through the game. Yeah,
Charles said again, he said Goff has 16 incompletions and 10 were drops. Goff is completing 68% of his passes, and I don't know if he's Charles, I don't know if you're saying that's good enough, because I see 28 of 42 for 202 yards, and that's not good enough in my opinion. There are drops and stuff.
Again, one check down, 4.
Yeah, completions is the opposite of what I think is important. I want to see more incompletions to have a threat downfield. That's what I would rather see. I want to see more interceptions because they're putting pressure on the defense, the secondary, by being aggressive.
But I will say, with our wide receiver corps, right away, we cut 2 of our top guys that we thought were going to contribute this year that were downfield threats. And then as soon as Tyrell Williams gets injured, now we have no downfield threat. Yep. That's something that maybe we should have, if we were trying to be competitive, should have thought about with the coaching staff.
So no reason to get worried about wins and losses. Are you concerned at all about the way that this team responded to the coach's cry, if you will? His cry out for fight, his cry for, because like kneecap rating, 1, 2, maybe, just because the defense showed a little bit in the first half. Like, I mean, that's what I would go. But like that's really disappointing from what we saw in the press conference after the Vikings game. It's like that's concerning to me. Look, I'm not saying Campbell's not going to work. I'm not going to go hot take central on that. I like what he does, but it was disappointing to see that type of response, more or less from the offense, than I guess.
I think these weeks happen. You see the LA Rams, they laid a duck, last week or the week before. They've had one game that just looked terrible. Are we going to grade them on their offense based on that one game? No, those happen in the NFL. Brady doesn't win every game.
It happens. It just compounds your feelings, though. That's the problem. Like when you're already down and someone just kicks you in the gut another 7 times, it don't feel good.
I'm just so in talent collection mode that I'm not worried about this. I'm not worried about a one-off game in October that doesn't mean anything long term.
I'm not worried, but I'm worried that I'm going to check out way earlier than I thought I was going to. And I don't mean that heading into week 1, I thought I'd be checked out by now. But what we saw from week 1 to 5 is like, look, I'm not going to check out this year. This team, we're going to see the development, we're going to see the excitement, we're going to see non-quits. This was a quit.
Yeah.
And that is concerning right here. I'm not saying that they're going to quit the rest of the season.
Injuries might be keeping up.
They are going to fight back. It is going to I'm going to keep watching this team because I think this, when all said and done, this game, the blowout, the no fight back is going to be the outlier. I think this team's going to continue to fight throughout this season, and I hope that they get a couple wins because they deserve it the way they have fought from 0 to 5.
Yeah.
Well, this coming week with Goff's previous team, don't you expect some sort of fire, some sort of I want to prove a little bit of something?
I sure hope so. I thought we would have seen a guy with a chip on his shoulder already, and we haven't seen it. And if it doesn't show up this week, man, this guy's better look in the mirror and figure it out. Otherwise, he's going to be out. He's not going to get even a backup job when he's done in Detroit.
Right. I'm not saying I expect him to go for 400 yards, 3 touchdowns.
No. Yeah.
I think we're in for a long day with the defensive line of the Rams versus this short-handed offensive line.
It'll be interesting to see if Taylor Decker can come back. That would be kind of cool.
I think this is the first game that we saw a game without what's his name in the middle?
Aaron Donald?
No,
Frank Ragnow.
Ragnow.
Sorry, yeah.
And it really caught up to us. Our offensive line looked like they were overmatched the whole game. Yeah.
Yep. No, I completely agree. And it'll be interesting to see. This is the week we've all been looking forward to. At least I have. I feel like it's going to be very, very ugly. But I could see the Lions trying to just slowing everything down and not allowing things to get out of hand. But, that's going to be pretty tough.
From the Red Wings to Michigan State, we're talking about it. This is State of My Sports.
Man, 33 shots to 15?
Dude, I have never been this distracted by a Red Wings game. I just keep watching it. I'm like, I kind of like watching this team.
Michigan State's offense sputtered. Let me transition. Sputtered, but the defense special teams stepped up big to beat Indiana 20-15 on the road to reach the 7-0 mark heading into the bye week prior to the game against Michigan. The offense looked a lot like it did against Nebraska, with Thorne going 14-26, 126 yards, 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions, where 70 of those yards were of the 126 were to Reed on 4 receptions. Walker had 84 yards on 23 carries for a 3.7 average. This was, I think, the type of game that, the offensive side was not going to make a play. It was going to take a while, and thankfully for Michigan State, the special teams came up big with a couple kicks. Those are key points. I know kicking field goals is so exciting, but also the pick 6 that Cal Halliday had early.
Man, he's good, isn't he?
He
really
is
stepped up.
He has really become a really good player, and I think that's why that linebacker transferred. Right? Who? That doesn't matter. I don't even want to get into that. But it was a linebacker transferred after the Nebraska game, right? Or entered the portal or whatever. But Coughlin had 49-yard field goal and a 51-yard field goal, and that's key because he's been shaky at times. The whole setup alone, like snap and hold and stuff, has been exposed a couple times. So, great. They stepped up. They got the win. It was, heading into the game, it was just find a way to win. And that game screamed more trap game to me than the Michigan Northwestern, because Northwestern is not nearly as talented as Indiana. Not nearly, well, I shouldn't say as well coached, but Indiana was supposed to be something heading into this year. And they can sneak up on somebody. Who got it?
Raymond?
No, wait, really? Did he really just get his first goal?
Yeah.
Sorry, I gotta watch this. But I mean, so
If you want me to take over?
I got something.
Oh, you got something.
This was the second of 7 games that MSU has looked vulnerable, but these are the type of games that they have lost in the past.
Yeah.
And the same old Spartans is no more. They found a way to win. They're learning a lot, and they're winning in these key games. And then here we go.
You got to watch this.
Here we go. Is that Larkin? Nice
Yep.
pass. Oh, what a shot.
What a shot.
Good for Raymond. I love when people get their first goals.
Dude.
I get so emotional.
The whole
like
team.
first hits and first goals.
He just had 2 shots on
Look at
goal, too, that were
Selly,
saved.
too.
Yeah,
Good
cool,
for him.
man. Yeah, good for him. That's awesome.
That's
we just
awesome.
watched
And,
it.
and that's a huge. I mean, man, they're sitting good right now.
Man,
the way that they're
34 to
dominating this
17.
game, don't find a way to blow this one.
No, I agree with you with MSU's offense. You know, in years past, they have found a way to lose these types of games. In recent years, I'm not talking like early 2010s. You know, like that's when they were at their best and they would win all these kind of games.
Yep.
But recently, they're turning a corner, and I think this makes me a little bit more concerned because I think really highly of this offense with Kenneth Walker, with Peyton Thorne, the group of wide receivers that they have. Jaden Reed was nowhere to be found as a wide receiver.
Well, he did at 70 yards on 4 catches.
Okay, but this was all late. Like early on, he had 0 catches through I think like the first 2.5 quarters.
Was it? Okay.
Well into the third quarter. So it just surprised me that their lack of ability to move because I just think they're immune to that kind of stuff. They had it against Nebraska.
Yep.
They've had it again against Indiana, and it almost seems to be against the teams that are very well disciplined on defense with the game plan. And I don't know what it is. I haven't gone into the tape to the X's and O's at this point, but Michigan's all over that tape.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that probably. I know.
Yeah, we got all next week. I mean, I feel like we're gonna have. That's my goal is just talk about that matchup.
But I just think with
all week,
this Indiana's a better defense than people give credit to. Last year they were a pretty awesome team in the Big Ten, and they overperformed maybe. But that means they're very well coached. They were well disciplined. They do have some talent, some big bodies in the middle, and that's something that if you are a similar type of team in the Big Ten, you might be able to draw some comparisons to and get a game plan moving forward.
Yeah, I mean 241 total yards. 141 passing and 100 rushing, 3.9 yards per play. That's not this team that we've seen. And I would say, I mean, the 2 best teams that they've played so far, right? Nebraska and Indiana, they were exposed. They were you can see why this is unexpected, I guess. This 7-0 start is unexpected. But the way Michigan State plays with their big plays, they've been able to get away with it a little bit more. Because I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Even in these big wins that they get, it's always big plays. And when you can't take advantage of that big play against disciplined defense, like you already brought up, that's when you sputter. You sputtered against – the offense has sputtered in pretty much every game at times. At times. Not like long term, but without that big play, it has. And the big plays, I feel like, have been a good cover-up for a not as...
Lack of consistent drive?
Not as, like, explosive defense or offense as they actually are on paper, if that makes sense.
I'll say this. I think at some point with an explosive offense, you need time. So what I'm going to dive into throughout the week and going into next week's episode, I want to know if this is a result of pressure on the quarterback, if it's a lack of protection from the offensive line, and that's not allowing them to have time for those deep plays.
Yeah.
Then I want to know that. And then also on the defensive side, are they playing a single high safety, or are they going 2 high safeties and forcing them to run the ball? Like that's the stuff I want to know.
Yeah. Like
how are they consistently lining up against this Michigan State offense? Because I think they have too many weapons to be shut down like this, and the second time that we've seen it. And I'm not worried about it. You're right.
No,
this is a must-win game, and it doesn't matter how you win. You just need to win.
Just win.
Same thing that Michigan did against Nebraska.
Yep.
And I really am not panicking with Michigan's win against Nebraska. I'm not panicking with State's win, this week against Indiana.
I'm right there with you, but I think it also raises the questions and the stuff that we need to be talking about.
Yep.
The stuff that are still question marks. The stuff that, I mean, really were question marks heading into each and one of these games. Like, when it's not hitting, how do you react?
Yeah, what do you do?
Yeah, what do you do? When Michigan's run game isn't just pounding the ball, what do you do?
And
it's not good. When Michigan State's
always been Kenneth Walker.
not running the ball well, not getting those big plays downfield, what do you do? And that's when you start feeling vulnerable, how do you react? And that's, look, they got the win. They reacted well. They did what they needed to do.
Yep.
That's what it takes. And that's what it takes to be a Big Ten champion. That's what it takes to be a true contender for the playoff. And I don't care how it looks. I don't care what the score says.
Yep.
Michigan and Michigan State have both put themselves in a spot that doesn't matter anymore. The eye test doesn't matter. Just win.
Both the teams showed a lot of resiliency the last week or two. And you couldn't ask for more when adversity strikes, your backs are against the wall, show up and show out.
Yep.
And both of them have. And next week is going to be a freaking rumble in the middle of the state.
Dude, Michigan State is undefeated going into Michigan. That is the storyline here.
Yes.
It's not about how they looked against two of the opponents that they ended up pulling out a W. It's that they are undefeated and they're going to be a top 10 team going into this super match. Like like how fun is that going to be?
Yeah.
And I'm just hoping so badly that Michigan wins against
Takes care of-
Northwestern. They need to take care of business, and then they go into this matchup, the dream matchup that we would have been so criticized for going into this year, and we were so close to pulling it off, guys.
Yeah.
Like predicting this to happen, but we didn't want to be homers
Yeah.
to do this. But we believed in both programs, and I can't wait. I really hope Michigan takes care of business.
Yeah, I mean, does Peyton Thorne concern here, or was that just one of those off games that it's
Let's
just
freaking
he
go.
still has what it takes.
He really
what he does well, that's not the mirage. When it goes bad, it's bad.
I think
It
he's
can
still
be.
young, and I want to make sure that that's known, because going into the year, again, this is a guy that was most likely, in most people's opinion, not going to win the starting job because of his age, because there was a more experienced guy that could beat him out for this, and he won it. But it doesn't mean that you know everything. It doesn't mean that you've experienced all this stuff. And it doesn't mean that there aren't these coachable moments. So I think this is a coachable moment. I think it's something that will probably make him better in the long term. And if you can be learning on the job as you're getting wins, then that's just best case scenario.
Yeah. Another thing that really stuck out was the penalties. 12 penalties for 134 yards. That slowed things down. That made it difficult,
Absolutely.
more difficult than it needed to be. Clean that up. And this is a different game. And
Football-
you don't put yourself behind.
Football is a game of just a few critical key plays. And the more penalties you have, you cannot overlook the importance of that.
Yeah, there was nothing they could do heading into this game that would be like, yeah, they're not as good as I thought they were, or they're worse than I thought they were going to be. You know what I mean? There was nothing going into this game that was like, we're going to learn something today. No. It meant
Just win.
nothing.
Just win.
It was go out and win. You did the job. You move on, and you head into that bye with that 7-0 and
Feeling like $1 million
have
bucks.
a big A smile on your face.
Yep.
Dude, I'm
That's what
loving
you
this
do.
Wings team right now.
Who got that
A
one?
lot of
Is that
fun.
3 now?
Bertuzzi.
Bertuzzi got the second one. Very nice. Very nice.
Fifth goal.
'Cause some stuff that kind of that came about over the last really 24 hours was obviously on Saturday LSU came out and said that they were not going to bring Ed Orgeron back, and then the rumors started going around, and obviously there's some big names out there that LSU will be going for, and rumors started swirling for Mel Tucker, and look, I love the Vegas odds. I feel like that kind of the coaching is very rarely right.
The
like
big
the
names
odds
are
and
big
that kind of
names.
stuff.
Right.
But one thing that was very interesting that happened yesterday, the odds for Mel Tucker to get that LSU job were 12-1.
Okay.
Today, they are sitting at 2-1. He is the
Whoa.
the big favorite to land this LSU job. Look, I don't want to get into like the
Because
the
Kiffin
rumors,
was leading yesterday, wasn't he?
I believe so.
Or his name was
His name was in
leading.
there. Kiffin was a part of it, but I don't think he would move one SEC to another. Just my opinion. But that tells me something. That tells me either a lot of people put a lot of money on Mel Tucker and Vegas adjusted,
Right.
or there's actual true
Mutual
discussions
interest.
happening. Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously, as a Michigan fan, I don't want to be like, this is what's going to happen and suck at MSU. That's not fair. That's not the way it should be. But when these rumors start coming about, like it's real, and that big of a swing doesn't happen for no particular reason. You know what I mean?
Right.
It would suck. It would suck if Mel Tucker moved on. We have a lot of time to get into it. I thought it was worth bringing up now, and we can discuss it just a touch. But I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it.
It's worth keeping an eye on.
Yeah.
It's so early in the process. They just announced this whole thing, so you're going to see the Vegas odds swing back and forth. That's my personal opinion. Yes, he's a hot item right now because of how Michigan State has turned this season around from last year, and that's to be expected. So until there's legitimate sources saying that he's interested in this job, I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, I think what this needs to be is let's just keep it civil, because I think Michigan State fans need to know that this is a very strong possibility, and Michigan fans don't need to jump the gun and rub it in their face and say blah, blah, blah. Look,
If he wants to go to LSU, go beat Michigan, go beat Ohio State.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, he's got plenty to work for still.
He's got plenty to work for. He's got a lot to lose here.
Yeah.
If he is a candidate, those odds will go down if he doesn't take care of business on the football field, or his team doesn't take care of business on the football field. I think Michigan and Michigan State fans need to come together and understand this is a very strong possibility, and these are the reasons why. The money. LSU is a bigger brand. I'm sorry, State, but it is. And you're not even close to that. Just admit what it is. And the money, and look, Tucker's jumped from job to job, and he was on LSU before. He was on Nick Saban's coaching staff at LSU before. Let's just throw out the facts and say, yeah, it's a possibility.
It's a possibility.
It's a concern.
Yep.
There
LSU's
are very good
deep.
reasons why he would leave, because I'm not saying Michigan State is a stepping stone job, because I don't think it should be. I don't think it needs to be. But it kind of gets looked at that way. I thought D'Antoni did a good job at not doing that when he had an opportunity to. But I'm not sure Mel Tucker is the same type of guy. And I think he's shown that he's willing to just jump to get
leave,
where he wants to go.
Yep, he's done it.
And there's nothing wrong with it. So it's just something to keep an eye on. Again, we'll see how things play out. I don't want it to be a discussion next week. That's why I kind of wanted to throw it into this week and kind of move forward and move on, unless obviously there's more stuff that happens.
Chippy.
But let's move on to some Pistons.
If it's craft beer in Michigan sports, we may not be the authority, but we love both like a fat kid loves cake. This is State of My Sports.
Before we get into the episode, main topic for episode 127, I want to remind everyone that the Hops Brewing Company and Cafe is pouring some of the best craft beer in West Michigan. Their revamped food menu, rotating taps, and wine and ciders make the hops perfect for whatever you have going on, from dinner with the family, late night drinks with friends, and everything in between. The Hops is becoming a staple in the West Michigan restaurant community that we highly recommend to our friends and listeners. The Hops is the official brewery of State of My Sports in 2021. And if you mention State of My Sports, you'll get a nice little discount off of your first beer. We had a great time over there last week. Ben always treats us well. That peach sour was amazing. I love that peach sour. I think their beer is still kicking butt, and I love that. But let's get into some Pistons talk. They went 20-52 overall last year and finished 15th in the Eastern Conference and had the second worst record in the NBA. It was a bit of an odd season because the eye test said, this team was making some strides, but lost the close games to finish below their preseason over-under set at 23.5. And fans were happy with what they saw. Their offensive rating was 108, 26 of 30, but their defensive rating at 112.5, 16th out of 30, which is awesome, was a nice positive. Mix that with the young talent and contributors. It feels like this organization's really heading in the right direction. Jeremy Grant is returning with he was a leading scorer at 22.3 points per game. Plumlee's gone, right?
Mason Plumlee's
he led
gone.
the team with 9.3 rebounds and 3.6 assists per game. Steals was Josh Jackson at 0.9, Isaiah Stewart at 1.3 blocks per game. Real quick, I wanted to get in some of the Vegas odds. They're plus 50,000 to win the championship, plus 25,000 to win the East, plus 15,000 to win the Central. In MVP, Cade Cunningham is plus 25,000, and their over-under is set at 25.5 wins, which is the third lowest win total, just behind Orlando and OKC. I kind of want to start talking about that first. From what we saw last year from the young talent and the way that they're developing, Dwayne Casey, great coach. He's been proven to be a coach of the year. Why is their win total so low? Are they expecting this to kind of be like a sophomore slump type season here in this rebuild? Or like what's going on with that, Ryan? Like, what do you see when you see that number?
Well, I think, last year they made it. Did you go over all the names that left?
No, I did not do additions and subtractions.
So I think that's worth bringing up because the subtractions from last year are Derrick Rose, Blake Griffin, DeLon Wright, Mason Plumlee, Wayne Ellington, Dennis Smith Jr., Svi Mikhailuk, Tyler Cook, Jaleel Okafor, Sekou Doumbouya, Davidas Servidis. I mean, these are that is an entire team.
Yeah.
We do not have the longest tenure player on this team is Killian Hayes, last year's first-round draft pick.
It's insane.
Only because he was drafted before the other draft picks.
Let me cross that off my thing I was going to say later on.
I knew that. Sorry. No, so, I think the reason why is because this team is so young. And if you're counting on Killian Hayes, brand new draft picks this year with Cade Cunningham and Luka Garza and Isaiah Livers is going to be out for a while.
Yeah.
But if you're counting on these types of guys and 3 or 4 rookies from last year, 2 rookies from this year, and then some guys that people have given up on like Josh Jackson and some of the other backup role type of guys, then they're not expecting a lot. Yeah, like a guy like
Kelly
Trey
Olynyk.
These are like journeyman type of NBA players that are not going to make you a great franchise. So I think that's the reason why you're seeing such low win totals. And we've seen some big talent come through in drafts and still have losing seasons until these guys grow up, until they develop the kind of talent that you need around them. And I will say this Pistons team is hard to put your finger on because they have a mixture of really exciting depth mixed with zero top-end talent.
Yeah.
Or at least top-end proven talent other than like Jeremy Grant.
And that, at 22.3, like that's not enough for points per game to lead a team to more victories than what we're seeing.
Well,
unless somebody really steps up and becomes a leading scorer.
Yeah, I think that's a team dynamic more than a points per game. But like, what's the over under? Do you have the over under wins for this
season?
Yeah, for the season,
25.5.
And see,
it's the third lowest.
I would be so over that. Like the over would be so obvious to me to bet for this team because they're going to be competitive in a lot of games. They're going to show how young they are in a lot of games too.
Yeah.
So I'm not expecting them to just take the NBA by storm, but this is going to be a really competitive because they're a talented team, but they don't know how to win yet. So I think until they've proven that they know how to win with this young core guys, then Vegas and all these other, like the NBA, like power rankings and stuff, they're not going to show them love until they prove it. And so that's why the Pistons are so low. And it wouldn't surprise me if they're the second or third worst team in basketball. But I think in basketball in general right now, people have kind of been the extreme high and the extreme low are kind of merging towards the center. Like it's getting more and more competitive as more talent comes in.
Yeah. Because
the old players are still not retiring and the young guys are getting good.
I hope so. I think the NBA needs that because it's been way too top heavy, and that would be great to see a little more competitiveness.
I think you're going to see
in the middle.
Yep, I think you're going to see it.
I don't want the top heavy guy teams to just be like, yeah, our record isn't amazing because we just kind of are going through the motions, and I feel like we've seen that, and it's been fake competitive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to see real competitiveness in the league because that's when I will start paying more attention. You know what I mean? don't like the NBA. Not a big fan. I'll watch the Pistons if they're worth watching, but like, man, they need a wake up call. The NBA does, and get more competitive day in and day out, and make these games more valuable.
You're gonna see it. You're gonna see it more and more because again, the older superstars that you're seeing are now going to be going up against the young superstars, like the teams like the Grizzlies. Like they're a really talented team, and they're getting some of their young talent back from injury going into this year. And that's just an example. Like the Pistons should hope to be and strive to be like the Grizzlies, get competitive next year or the year after. A lot of like homer guys, if you're listening to the radio and sports talk radio in Detroit, they're expecting this team to compete for maybe even a play-in
spot.
Play-in game, like a 10 seed or something along those lines.
Tournament that they do now.
And I'm along those same lines. I think I might be a little step below them when I'm expecting wins wise.
Yeah.
But they're going to be competitive game in, game out.
I think that's like for me, like what was so eye-opening with the 25.5 over-under wins and the third lowest win total for Vegas. Like I've gone into the season expecting them to be competitive, expecting them to, the last week and a half be ready to get in the playoffs, setting themselves up for what is it going to be, a 7 seed, a 6 seed, or 5 seed? Like that's what I had in my head based on what I thought we've added. It's all, and that's why, it was just tough for me to see. But so we went over the subtractions. The additions. Obviously, Cade Cunningham, number 1 overall pick. Luka Garza was in the draft. Isaiah Livers won't get any playing time if at all, probably. He'll probably play in the G League if he plays at all this year with the injury. But like with Trey Lyles, Kelly Olynyk, Jamarco Pickett, Chris Smith, outside of the two rookies, really, Cade Cunningham and Luka Garza, like, did they bring in anybody of value? Like, what are we looking at here?
No, and that was by design. Again, we started last year with Blake Griffin.
So do you kind of think of this as this organization's ready to take that step, but they're almost like, let's not take that step. Let's cool it. Maybe we'll get lucky again and get a top 3 pick next year. So I don't want to say tank before, like, go ahead.
Well, I want to just kind of go over like the thought process, because if you're a GM, your team is so young, you don't even know what you have yet. You think you know what you have. You have a lot of hopes and dreams for these guys. But if Killian Hayes doesn't have any confidence to shoot the ball and he's not in the long-term plans, then you need to know that before you go off and sign a big free agent.
Yeah.
So this was not the year to go get those free agents.
They didn't have cap space either.
Well, and they didn't yet. Next year they're going to have a ton.
Next year they will, yeah. Yep.
So if we use up all of our remaining cap space this year and go get a big name, that's going to take away playing time from one of these young guys that you're not even sure. You don't even know what you have yet.
Yeah.
So at this point, with all of the talent, again, 3 first-round picks last year with Killian Hayes, Isaiah Stewart, and Sadiq Bey, you need to know exactly who these guys are before you determine who you're going to pay money for long term.
Nope. That makes sense. So my question here, and it's not on the sheet, and I hope I'm not throwing you to the wolves here.
No, go for it.
Jeremy Grant. That I think is our superstar name. That's our guy. That's the guy that's going to
made Team USA, Olympic gold medalist, all that. Yep.
Yeah. Who is he in the way of?
He's not.
He's not in the way. That's why we can let him stay.
He
on
was
the team.
He was in the way of Sekou Doumbouya.
Who moved on to multiple teams now.
Multiple
he's with the Lakers
teams,
now.
Yeah. Well, who knows? Yeah,
I think he's with the Lakers, right?
2-way contract.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, so it's not even a guaranteed, NBA contract. So, Jeremy Grant is not a problem with this French. In fact, I think Jeremy Grant was one of the reasons why we have turned a corner with the Pistons right now, because they decided that they were going to build an identity of defense first, length, some key attributes to these guys that the franchise wanted to build around. And you're going to see the same thing with Cade Cunningham. He plays defense and he's got length. They have a true big body type of guy with Sadiq Bey, who shoots 3-pointers like crazy, broke all kinds of rookie records last year for threes, Pistons rookie records and everything. He's defense first. He's fundamentals first, and he's not selfish. And you're going to see that being a theme with this team is every once in a while we're going to have games where you're like, man, will somebody just step up and score?
Yeah.
Will we just get a score? Because Cade should be trying to take over this game or
Does Cade have the ability to take over a game?
Cade can take over a game because he's a great shooter.
Okay.
I think he's going to be a great shooter in this league. I really do. I think you're going to see more and more of his ability to come in and take big shots when the team needs them most. And I think you always need more than one. Steph Curry needs Klay Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to build something special, you need more than one dynamic late game type of option to turn to, and the best teams do that. So I think Jeremy Grant is that number one option right now. I think Cade Cunningham will get into that conversation, and then we'll talk about it a little bit. But I think guys like Killian Hayes need to step up and grow up a little bit.
Yeah. So what are your goals for this season for the Pistons? I wrote down be competitive, continue to develop, kind of like we went into with the Lions here. We want to see these guys truly develop. Obviously, the injuries kind of caused issues with the Lions, but like also, is it fair that I'm saying find a way to make Jeremy Grant a trade piece and get another lottery ticket? I'm not saying lottery pick, but lottery ticket that you can turn into a future piece? Or is it too early to say that?
So I don't buy the getting rid of Jeremy Grant because you think you're going to lose draft capital or you're going to lose some value from him, because I don't think you're competitive in this league without veterans. And you see that with like the Pelicans. How much talent did that team have with Zion and so, all the young guys
Ball,
that
he was still there,
Lonzo
right?
Ball, and like they had so much talent on that team, and yet they don't even know how to win. So you need those veteran guys to teach the young NBA players how to be professional NBA players. You need those guys. And Coach Casey has talked about that over and over. He's like, I will never have a team without veterans because you need veterans. They are that important to the development of these young guys' character, knowing how to practice, knowing how to prepare, knowing how to win.
Yeah.
And so I think a guy like Jeremy Grant's the perfect guy to bring in to teach the young guys how to get there. And not only that, but he's got an opportunity to be who he is without taking a back seat to some other guy.
Yeah.
And he proved himself last year, and I think he's ready to do the same this year.
So what do you want to see? Like if you had a choice between sneaking into a 7th seed, getting swept, or finishing the bottom 5, getting top 5 pick, and adding a high-level draft pick to this group, what would you choose?
It all depends on how the season went.
That's not the question.
No.
right?
Because your first question was valid. Your second question was not.
I think it's valid.
No, because what I want,
Michael,
my goal.
what would you choose? Top 5 pick, right? I would take a top 5 pick.
Well, if it means that Cade Cunningham got hurt and didn't play very well, and Killian Hayes is a bust, like no, I don't want a top 5 pick.
Yeah, okay.
I'd rather them compete for 7th because you have building blocks.
All right, I'll let you answer.
All right, so I think my goal for this year is guys like Hamidou Diallo, who we haven't even talked about, Frank Jackson, Josh Jackson, even like Isaiah Livers if he can get some playing time. I want to know if they are building blocks for this team. I want to know if we want to sign Josh Jackson to a long-term goal or a contract because he's that good and he's that important defensively for this team. Because at this point, he's still a wild card, who former 3rd or 4th overall pick, who has all the talent in the world, all the athleticism in the world, who showed up last year but kind of faded down the stretch.
Was he the one that was traded from? Was it Orlando or not? Was it traded?
He was drafted by the Suns and he played with them for a while.
Okay,
and he was a bust. Like he couldn't score at all. Last year he scored like 13 points a game for us and played great defense. He's from Detroit. He thinks he's found his identity in Detroit.
Cool.
He feels he loves this place. He's talked about it over and over this preseason. He's like, I don't know what it is, but I came to the place where I felt comfortable. It just so happens to be Detroit, where I grew up. And I want to know if he's a building block. He's 6'7", 6'8", so athletic, can shoot sometimes, great finisher, blocks everything that comes around him.
Cool.
So like a guy like that, I want to know if he's long term.
all right.
So Hamidou Diallo, former dunk champion in the NBA for the All-Star Weekend. Dunk champion, that means he's got all the athleticism you could ever ask for.
Yep.
I want to know if he's a long-term player for this team. And that's what I mean. Like, we are so deep with real talent, but we don't know what is going to make a difference wins and loss-wise.
All right. Let's get into some player talk here. Breakout player. For me, obviously, I mean, my brain goes to Cade Cunningham, pretty obvious one. But like, I want to know by the end of the year that he was the right choice. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's still those questions, and we're not going to have those answers after year 1. but I want to be more comfortable with it. I want to draft the rookie of the year first overall. Like, I feel like that's very important, and not that it translates to long-term success in the league necessarily, but like I personally want to know that there's excitement in Detroit, because I think that's what it needs to get those free agents to come, as you already have a piece that I want to play with. And I feel like this is an opportunity for him to kind of start building that resume and reputation of, I want to go play with that guy for that guy. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I want to see. So I kind of pulled up some rookie of the year numbers. Are there numbers that you want to see him hit, or is it more just eye test? Like, how does that work as a rookie in the NBA?
I think he could match like what LaMelo Ball put up last year with 15, 6 rebounds and 6 assists. I think he could do that with Cade. Yeah, I think I expect him to do that.
People loved what Ball did.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like, people were really like talking high about him, not just for rookie of the year, but other type of awards
because of his playmaking ability.
Yeah.
Cade will do it more with his. I think will do it more with
Shooting.
his shot and with his defense, because he's a dynamic defensive player, and if we're going to be relying on him to play point guard, that's awesome, man. He's like 6'6", 6'7". Some even have him listed 6'8".
Yeah.
I think that's where he's going to add value. And Cade is one of those guys that I really do think adds real win-loss value. Like, he makes his team better.
So if there's a floor, like if he's average, like let's stick with like points per game. If he's averaging less than 13 points per game, is that a concern? Like, where is that level of being like, oh, it's not translating into the NBA, and I can see it now? Is there a number, or is it more of an eye? Like, another question. Like, is it a number, or is it eye test?
No, that's a valid question, because if there's a knock on Cade, it's his ability to create his own shot. And if he's not scoring, maybe let's just say like 12 or 13 points a game. If he's not scoring 12 or 13, and he's having really a hard time creating his own shot and putting the ball in the basket like everybody wants to do, then I'll start getting worried. If he's a pure off-ball player where he's catching the ball in the corner and hitting shots because I think he's a good shooter, that would be concerning. I don't think there's that big of a risk for that being true, but if he's scoring 10 to 12 points a game, I'm going to start getting a little worried.
Do you have a different breakout player, or is that kind of who you would kind of circle here?
No, my breakout player is Isaiah Stewart. I think I want to list people that I believe in, that I think are worth putting, like, not that I have a reputation on the podcast or anything, but if I'm going to put my reputation at stake, I'm going to say I believe in Isaiah Stewart. I think he's a dog. I think he's a workhorse. I think he's the Ben Wallace of this team. I think he's got an attitude. He plays tough, and he doesn't sit there and complain about fouls not being called for him. He just sits there and takes it like a man. He says, this guy's a little, yeah.
Larkin.
This guy's a little Larkin, and I'm going to beat him up the next time down the court. Like, he literally has that attitude, and he did as a rookie. So I'm pumped about this year.
I remember you saying that even heading into the seat, like when they drafted him. And
I was pumped.
You were pumped, and you said those type of things. You go, this guy fights. This guy has a different attitude than most NBA players.
I think Cade is going to jump all over this attitude that Isaiah Stewart brings.
I would love to see. Yeah.
I think they're going to complement each other great, and he's got touch. I think he's going to hit a lot of threes like he did last year going down the stretch. He's going to be a really valuable breakout player this year.
Yeah. Do you have a player that you think is kind of getting forgotten about?
I would say Sadiq Bey.
Yeah.
From the Detroit crowd, because we're worried about Cade, we're worried about Isaiah Stewart, we're worried about Killian. We're worried about Jeremy Grant and all these guys. Sadiq Bey is like the most. We know exactly what we're going to get out of him, and it's a really good 3-point shooting forward who plays good defense. And if he can add any kind of ability going to the hoop, which I think he already has, he just needs to have the confidence to do it. I think he's going to be such an undervalued type of player in this league, which is exactly the reason why he was drafted.
No, that makes sense. Mike, if you have anything, obviously jump in. I didn't know if you had some thoughts on the Pistons heading in.
Keep rolling, boys.
Rebound player I thought was hard to find. when you have a bunch of young players. I mean, like you said, Killian Hayes is the longest tenured. You don't really have somebody that had an absolute down year. I think he would kind of be a good candidate for a rebound player, but I actually went with Lyles. I mean, Trey Lyles. I don't know anything about him. I looked up some numbers. I mean, he's played in a lot of games heading into the season. Is he not valuable enough
I wouldn't say he's not valuable. He'll actually probably get a lot of playing time this year.
And that's kind of where I was at. So he started, 63 games, 64 games, 73, 80 at times. Now last year was 23 games that he played in. And only started in 9 of them. From the previous year, he started 53 games.
He's looked pretty good in the preseason so far. I don't think he's really going to play a big role on this team either way.
So who's your biggest rebounding candidate here?
I would love to say Killian Hayes because he had a really bad year last year. I just have
it wasn't really bad, was it? He had a really bad start, got hurt, and then he came back and showed quite a.
Yeah, this is a good question. So, Killian Hayes is, I think, has the potential to be an elite level defensive player at the guard position. He has the potential to have elite passing ability and playmaking ability. I do not see him, the way his attitude is, I do not see him right now. I think he's going to be a letdown offensively, which is weird because that's why he was drafted, because of his playmaking ability. But he can pass the ball, but he will not shoot the ball. And I don't know if he just has no confidence. I think he actually could be a really good shooter, like a really, really good Derek Fisher type of shooter. And he just has no confidence in his ability right now. He looks constantly for somebody else to shoot, and I think it's like he's playing with fear, and I don't know if he can get past that. And my fear with him is that he'll never get rid of that fear, and he'll just become a bust or a backup because I don't know, because he just never grew or developed that kind of confidence that he needs to be an elite level player.
So he is your rebound player?
Oh, no, that was all the reasons why he was not. Because I don't think he will rebound this year. I'm worried about him.
Worried about it.
I am worried about him.
All right, so who would you be your rebound player? And that's, again, pretty tough. That's a tough category to fill here in Detroit.
Yeah, it is, because, again, we haven't had a lot of people playing for a long time.
Yeah.
I think my rebound player is going to be Josh Jackson. And he had a rebound season last year, but I think he'll rebound even more. I think he's going to be more important to this team than people give him credit for.
Awesome. Dark horse MVP. Somebody stand out to you that could really be the heartbeat of this team?
Jeremy Grant's obvious guy, but that's not dark horse at all. I'll say Cade, who's also not dark horse, but he is this important to the team. And if the franchise will go as he goes, if he is elite, if he is like a Ben Simmons who can shoot type of talent that people have cited that he could be, then we're in good hands. Yeah. And I feel like that's MVP worthy. I hope so.
Yeah, I lean towards Jeremy Grant just because I'm curious if he's going to be another guy or a guy that's get on my back and lead this team to victories and raises 22 points per game?
Yeah,
somewhere around there.
22.6, I think.
Can he bring it up to 26? Can he do that? Well, if he is, and it's not translating, can he bring in other pieces at the trade deadline? I still think that's a big possibility. For me, that's what makes him the most valuable player on this roster heading into the 2021-22 season. Is you're either going to be really good and lead this team to the playoffs, or you're going to be who you have been and bring in peace at the trade deadline. And either way, I think that's valuable. And that's kind of where I went. But who's your under-the-radar player?
My under-the-radar player, I was deciding between Frank Jackson and Josh Jackson. I've already used Josh Jackson at this point, so I'm going to go Frank Jackson. He came on the scene last year and tore it up. His numbers shooting the ball from three-point was just incredible, and he came off the bench as a spark plug, and I expect him to do the same, and he hasn't shown anything in preseason to make me think otherwise. He's going to come in. He's going to score like crazy, and I think he's going to be a super underrated part of this team. And I think he plays good enough defense too, where instead of just being a spark plug, he might actually have a big-time role in this team. So watch out for Frank Jackson. I think he's dangerous at this point.
Yeah, I actually went with Killian Hayes more or less because I feel like you're bringing in younger guys, or not necessarily younger guys, but newer guys. You have the nice shiny toy with Cade. You have, people questioning if they even work together. If drafting Cade means Killian's already out of here. People talked about that. It'll be interesting to see, especially with Cade being hurt heading into the season. He hasn't practiced much, if at all. He's already been ruled out for tomorrow, which sucks for a home opener and stuff.
Is Killian playing tomorrow?
I haven't heard that he wasn't. I didn't know he was fighting something, but
yeah, he's been out for the preseason.
Can he take advantage of a slow start for Cade and kind of, it kind of fits the don't forget about player, but kind of step in and show that he is valuable in this
Yeah,
league.
absolutely.
Is he going to have a piece? I think he could sneak up and do that. I think it's more hope than anything. I feel like I lean towards more Sekou Doumbouya type thing. Like, it just didn't work. You know what I mean?
With Killian?
Like, yeah, and that sucks.
I'm worried
that
about
hurts.
But let's think about where this franchise is at, because we feel like there's a lot of excitement around the team, and our starting lineup theoretically really should be Killian, Cade, Sadiq Bey, Jeremy Grant, and Isaiah Stewart. Those are 4 first-round draft picks over the last 2 years, and Jeremy Grant. So if there's something to be excited about, that's it. And if you still don't believe in this team, we'll mix that kind of a core with the next draft picks that we're getting.
Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. State of My Sports.
All right, so it's my turn to explain Betting Hero to y'all. Betting Hero is a sports betting website that you go to, and they list out each one of the sports betting platforms available for you and apps that are available with promo codes that best fit your style. So go to bettinghero.com, plug in promo code MISports. No, wait, what is it? MIBets?
MIBets.
You just did this weekend, right, with bettinghero.com?
I did sign up through Betting Hero. I've yet to throw money down.
All right, so we need to know what kind of promo codes that you're going to be using for that.
You guys, there are not like 2 or 3 or 3 or 4 promo codes. It looked like a dozen plus. Look through them, check them out, see what works best for you.
Seriously, so if you're shopping around, you're going to get free money out there sometime. So go to bettinghero.com, promo code MIBets. Sign up through them, go to your favorite promo code at that time, win some free money, and tell them we sent you.
Well done, I think. I'm hoping. I assume.
Oh, he crushed it.
It was okay. I brought Mike in. We did it together.
You guys did it together? Mike, did you explain what you did this weekend with your Betting Hero?
I did.
Did it go well?
It went well.
We should move on.
Yeah? All right, let's move on.
Yeah.
What are we moving on to?
Picks of the week.
Our picks of the week, and I don't have John's or Kyle's. It shows how text messaging goes in this world.
Looks like we're going to win. Maybe we should go total wins instead of percentages.
Last week, Micah went 4-3. Kyle went 4-3. Ryan went 2-5. I went 2-5. John went 3-4. Micah's leading the way at 28-19. You should sign up for Betting Hero. Just do the picks.
Boys.
That percentage is pretty solid. Kyle is 25-22. Ryan, you are 24-23.
Bad week.
John, 22-25, and I am bringing up the rear.
Dude, look at Lucas Raymond right now.
And 29. He looks like a stud.
He's just so happy.
Fourth teenager to score for Detroit since 2005-2006. Fourth. Other ones, do you know?
2005, 2006?
Yeah, do you know the other 3?
I'm assuming Larkin.
Got it.
2005, 2006. Billy Lano?
Nope.
Damian Brunner?
Nope.
All right, I'm done.
No. Since 2005, 2006.
Yeah, Rasmussen.
Oh, Rasmussen got one?
Yep.
Zadina?
And Zadina.
Wow.
There you go.
Interesting. So they're all on the team still.
Let's go.
Interesting. All right. Anyways, we're going to start with the Broncos at the Browns. The Browns are a 4-point favorite on Thursday night. Micah, you're leading the way.
Give me the Broncos.
Ryan.
Give me the Browns.
Yeah, I was going to go Broncos. I thought I was going to sneak up on you guys, but I'm going to go Browns now. 'Cause I want to catch Micah.
Baker is going to struggle if he even plays.
If he even plays. That's the key. That's the key.
Yeah, they're down
Nick
running backs,
Chubb's out.
too.
The Chiefs are at the Titans. Titans are a 4.5-point underdog. Micah, what about you?
Chiefs.
Ryan.
Chiefs.
I'll definitely take the Titans by myself here. I like it. I think the Titans are good.
The King Henry.
King Henry.
Dude, he is just
He's killing it.
bizarre.
Real quick, we got one more NFL game. Hopefully we can do it before the
I didn't draft him.
the song expires. Lions are at the Rams. Minus 15.5. Micah, who are you
Rams.
going with here?
Rams.
Ryan.
Rams.
Don't you
It's a lot.
do it.
It's a lot of
Don't
points.
It
you
is
do
way
it.
too many points.
Are you going Lions?
I'm going to go Lions.
Oh, man, I really want to go Lions.
I'm
now.
going Lions.
Oh,
All right,
no.
all right. So real quick before we start the college, how many points would it take for you to take the Lions?
48.
Oh man. Woo.
Just watch.
All right,
Sold
so
to
all
Ryan.
right, so obviously you guys took the
Just watch
Rams at
49-0.
15.5. So let's move it to 18.
I was gonna say 17.5 might make me go Lions.
All right, so 18 you would take Lions.
Yeah, probably.
Ryan, would you take the Lions at 18?
Rams.
20.5.
I'd still go Rams. That's 3 possessions. It's not that much.
21.5.
Rams.
Go up to 48.
23.5.
I'd go Lions.
You'd go Lions at 23.5?
No, probably 27.5.
27.5 is his number. 27.5.
Ooh.
If they don't cover 27.5, Ryan will shoot the boot. Is that what we were talking about?
I don't think so.
No, that's not how it works.
That's not how.
We got some college games to get into. Not that great of a slate here. We got Wisconsin at Purdue, who is ranked 25th. That's the only reason why it made the list today.
Look at that.
Purdue is a 3-point underdog at home against Wisconsin. Micah, who you got?
I'm gonna go with Purdue. Graham Mertz has not been looking good at all this year.
Ryan.
Man, it's hard to bet against a home team that's a dog, but I'll go with Wisconsin in this one. I got to catch Micah.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go Wisconsin, mainly because I actually heard that there are 2 teams that control their own destiny on that side of the Big Ten. Wisconsin is one of them. If they win out, they win that side of the conference.
Really?
Yeah, because none of their losses are on that side of the conference yet. So they control their own destiny.
So if
So
they
I'm going to
beat
go
Iowa-
Wisconsin. I think they're going to get things straightened up. They're not going to win the conference, or that side of the conference, but
Yeah.
they're gonna do it against Purdue. We got Ohio State, who is ranked 5th at Indiana, plus 19. A 19-point home underdog. Micah, who you got here?
I'm going with Ohio State, unfortunately.
Ryan?
I'm going to take Ohio State.
Yeah, I'm going Ohio State here as well. Pretty obvious pick there. And then our last one before we get into the Hayes and Blue pick, USC at number 13, Notre Dame. Notre Dame is a 7-point home favorite. Micah?
Even though I don't think either team is that good, I think USC is like really, really not good. I'm gonna go with Notre Dame.
I'm right there with you, Ryan.
Notre Dame.
Very, very good. We're all on the same page there.
Man, I really wish I would have
From
taken
what we
Indiana.
know of, we don't know John and Kyle's pick yet. Now they're just going to be there and changing their picks and stuff like that. But we got Michigan back on the slate to this week. It is our Hayes and Blue pick of the week. Hayes and Blue is a crushable New England IPA that features Citra and Mosaic hops and brewed with real blueberries. It's 5.5% alcohol by volume and 20 IBUs. Obviously, Hayes and Blue is a Big Lake Brewing special. Man, they're Hayes and Blue. They're Sparty Party. Good Big Lake, man. Look at that hat. It's a
Let's
nice
go.
looking hat. I like it a lot.
What were you gonna say?
I have no idea.
It's nice.
Next week, we got the Sparty Party versus Hayes and Blue.
We do.
But for now, we just got to make our pick for Michigan. I think it's actually moved a little bit, but I'm going to stick with our 21.5 Michigan as the favorite there. Micah, where are you going with this one?
I have no reason right now to bet against Michigan, so give me Michigan.
Ryan?
Man, that's a lot of points. I I think Michigan plays differently at home, so I'm going to go Michigan here.
Yeah, I mean, that many points, I would love to try to sneak one past Micah here and get a little closer, but this isn't the time to do it. It isn't. You can easily see them winning by 21 and a half or more, but you could see it being like a 17 to 10 point game too.
Yep.
It'll be interesting to see, and that's where I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with Michigan, and hopefully they figure it out. Real quick, I did want to mention our Sparty Party. Obviously, they moved up to, what was it, number 9 in the country this week?
I believe so.
Sparty Party is the New England IPA with Mandarina, Bavaria, and Amarillo hops. It's 7% alcohol by volume, 53 IBUs. It is a very, very good IPA. Very good IPA. Another well-done IPA by Big Lake. And just check out Big Lake. They have some of the best beer, especially along the lake shore if you're out that way.
Their tap room's sweet, right?
Big Lake is awesome. That is seriously one of the... And I remember when we were getting ready to record there, they're like, our tap room's a little small. We actually recorded at the production facility, which was a great time.
Yeah.
Huge shout out to those guys. Thanks again for having us. But then I went to the tap room, I think that same weekend, and I was like,
yep.
They called this small? Like this, it
huge?
is a nice facility, very open, not claustrophobic at all. You know what I mean? Like just has a great feel. Love what they do. Signed up for their Wi-Fi, and I get promotions all the time on their email and stuff. Which is
promos.
Yeah, they get.
Let's go.
So I think I get 20% off next time I get out there.
Beer promos. It doesn't get any better.
No, it does not. It does not. That is for dang sure. You were going to say something?
Yeah, what do you think about 3 one-loss teams being ahead of Michigan State?
I think
Alabama,
All right.
Penn State,
so.
Ohio State. Is Iowa above them too?
I don't think.
I think Iowa dropped out.
I thought they dropped out of the top 10, or maybe are at 10.
Yeah.
Maybe pull that. But I think it's unfair that Michigan and Michigan State, like there are one-loss teams ahead of Michigan and Michigan State. But at the same time, I look at both of their resumes, and I get it. I think it's fair. I think there's way too many questions for Michigan and Michigan State to be like, oh, we're being treated unfairly.
For Alabama to still be number 4.
I think that's fair. I really do.
Yeah, they're gonna have to lose against Georgia to make it.
I think
stick.
Alabama should be number 2. Personally, I think they should be ahead of Cincinnati. I think they should be ahead of Oklahoma. Oklahoma is I think the most overrated team up there.
Agreed.
They've been exposed multiple times, and they should be right there with Michigan and Michigan State. I think Michigan State should be like 7, 8, and 9.
Is Caleb Williams going to be the quarterback of the Lions in 2 years?
No. J.J. McCarthy.
Hey.
Oh.
Hey.
Whoa.
Cade McNamara
Hello.
is going to take over for Goff. It's going to be a good time.
We welcome
It's time
change.
to grade our Michigan beers for this episode, but before we do, I want to once again remind everyone of our partner, Siciliano's Market. They are simply the best beer store in West Michigan, located on Lake Michigan Drive, right between Grand Valley State University's main campus and downtown Grand Rapids. Wherever you live in West Michigan, it is worth the short drive for what they have to offer. Whether you know what you want or you need some help from their expert staff, Siciliano's Market is the best place for that. They not only have a massive and up-to-date inventory of the best craft beers from across our great nation, they're individually priced so you can mix and match to build your own six-pack. Along with their great selection of craft beer, they have specialty wines, spirits, ciders, coffee, tea, tobacco, and cigars. They also have the largest selection of homebrew and winemaking supplies in West Michigan. We love that Siciliano's Market is part of the State of My Sports family and is who we visit to help us choose our Michigan beers for each and every episode. So please check them out and let them know that we sent you.
Again, huge shout out to Kyle, listener Kyle, coworker Kyle. He gave me this beer from Dock. It is Bums Beach. Ryan, you did this one in episode 60 something, I think.
Do you remember the grade I gave?
I do not. I should have
Man,
looked
I
that
thought
up.
you might have had that because you told me the episode.
I'm gonna look it up here before the end. But again, real quick about this beer, it is a pale wheat and Pilsner malts lay out. They're crisp yet creamy. Wait, I feel like I was gonna describe the beer and then I started reading.
Go for it. Start over.
It is a pale wheat and Pilsner malt. Oh my gosh. You guys want to start this off? or no?
Yeah, I'll start if you want.
All right. I got this. Dock is in Marquette, Michigan. I'm just changing.
Go for it.
Changing
Different part of the
paths.
can.
Yeah. Their slogan is drawn from the greatest of lakes, fashioned into the finest of beers. Wow, that's really well said. Man. All right, so this is an American wheat ale, 5.8% alcohol by volume. And this is how they describe it. It is a pale wheat and Pilsner malts lay out their crisp yet creamy rays of ripe citrus through a hazy shade of South Shore sun.
You worked through it, buddy.
I got
That was
I got
good.
there.
That was
It
good.
took me
Finish?
4 tries.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I checked out, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure most of our listeners did too. What water wants to be is Dock's beer. Man,
That's
they
the
got
truth.
so many good things going on this can. Look, I think this is a good beer. The wheat beers aren't my favorite. A little heavier than I think they need to be when you're not getting as much alcohol, I guess. That's where I kind of lay. It was a good beer, though. Very good flavor. I'm going to go with a 7.5.
Ooh. I thought he was going to say
Nice.
7.9.
Micah.
I'll go next. Blackrocks.
Ryan,
I'm going with
what are you drinking?
Oktoberfest Marzen style lager. This is a traditional Marzen style malt forward with a balanced bouquet of select noble hops. And I asked Ryan to read this German stuff down here, and I just
He said no?
Yeah. Well, he got one word, and there's lots of words, and I'm not going for it. So
Our Leyden.
it's a 5.8%er. This is one of the better Oktoberfest beers I've had. It's not as heavy as a lot of the other ones. You know, it's that lager style.
Yeah, they called it the lager, right? So it's not.
So-
it's not the.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the other ones can be really hard to drink. And, you know, I don't think anyone sits down on a weekend and, you know, they get themselves a 6-pack or a 12-pack and just, you know, sits there and drinks Oktoberfest all weekend. Maybe they do. Maybe it's in a boot or something. I don't know. But this beer you can drink all weekend. So I'm going to give this a 7.9.
Nice. Yeah, most Oktoberfest it seemed to be really heavy.
It was super heavy.
But if like true German Oktoberfest is like Hefeweizen, like light
Yeah.
very
German
drinkable.
beer. Yeah.
Crushable.
Crushable.
There you go. I am drinking Double Voyager, double IPA from Arvon Brewing Company. Again, this is made with Galaxy Citro Mosaic hops, 9.0%. I'm again big fan of the double IPAs from Arvon, what they have coming out there, and I feel the same way about this. I'm going to go an 8.1. I think, man, this is like a rich beer, and if you have the difference between the double IPA and the triple IPA, I would expect them to taste the same and just be maybe a little bit heavier versus lighter, but
Yeah.
the flavor is going to be pretty consistent between the two, because this is like a very, very strong flavor, which might be overpowering if you're not into that. I kind of really like the double IPAs, so I think it was perfect for me. 8-1.
Very nice.
Very good score. Thank you to all the breweries that allow us to drink their beer. Siciliano's Market obviously gives us great recommendations, and we get beer from other outlets as well, so thank you all for that. And also thank you guys for recording tonight. Really appreciate that. I'm trying to get the outro going here. Thank you all for watching live. Getting your comments out there. There wasn't a whole lot today. I appreciate it.
Sorry, the
I
Wings
really
won
still
4-1.
appreciate it. 4-1?
4-1.
Oh, I thought they had to shut up. Dang. Well, thank you guys for recording.
You bet.
Talk to you next week,
You've been listening to State of My Sports.
if not sooner.
From the Red Wings to the Lions to the Tigers to the Pistons to Michigan and Michigan State and
Hate week
everything
next
in
week.
between, we're talking about it.
You still talking?
And don't forget the beer. We hope you enjoyed the show. Make sure to like, rate, and review. In the meantime, hook up with us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch at State of My Sports with an MI. We'll see you next time.